Warning: the following video contains personal opinions and may contain potential bias. Anyone sensitive to someone else's opinion may want to turn away now. But thanks for watching anyways. The Pokemon anime has been around for a long time. So long in fact that, as of this recording, whether you've been watching it dubbed or subbed, over 1,000 episodes have aired to date. And throughout that plethora of episodes, numerous episodes over the course of the anime's long-standing history have found themselves banned. And today, we'll be talking about just that, with the top 5 banned Pokemon episodes. Now the reason why I'm going with top 5 is mainly because for perspective of this list, I'm going to be focusing entirely on episodes that I've never seen an English release. Not necessarily episodes that never got dubbed, but just episodes that for one reason or another never got released in English. This is partly because if you check out Bulbapedia's article on banned Pokemon episodes, you'll find out that a lot of episodes got banned in South Korea for the primary reason that they banned pretty much any episode that featured any sort of Japanese culture within it. So the episode when Ash got his badge against Koga? Banned. The episode for the Gen 2 anime when Ash battled Falconer, the first gym leader? Banned. The episode when Ash battled Morty? Banned. And plenty of other examples that pretty much fall under the same pattern. Plus, I feel like these 5 episodes in particular are the most worth talking about. So, with all of that said, welcome everyone to the Silver League's top 5 banned episodes of the Pokemon anime. Number 5. Holiday Hi-Jynx, aka the Christmas episode. So in this episode, Ash and company come across a Jynx which is holding a boot, which turns out to be the boot of Santa Claus. And this is a Jynx that somehow lost its way and ended up all the way in Kanto, which in turn leads Ash and friends to go on a big adventure to return Jynx back to the North Pole, so that way Jynx can go back to its home, return the boot to Santa Claus, and then everyone can have a Merry Christmas. And despite this overall cheerful and seemingly harmless episode, the very presence of Jynx did stir a controversy, because when the episode initially aired, articles were written about the episode, stating Jynx to be a representation of the negative stereotype blackface. And to be honest, I can totally see what they're getting at. Though I'll fully admit that as a kid, I never saw it. Legitimately, I never knew what blackface was for a very long time. And even to this day, I never personally see it that way. Because as a kid, I never really interpreted the black skin as, well, its skin. I always strangely interpreted it as Jynx's face being in shadow. Though later, one could argue that the black skin is in reference to, well, frostbite, as gruesome and morbid as it is. But then again, Jynx's now purple skin also reflects that idea of it being based on frostbite. This isn't the first time that anime has had black characters with big lips because, well, famously we have Mr. Popo, which when Dragon Ball Kai had its dub air on CW, notoriously changed Mr. Popo from black to blue in a very, very, very awful edit. The interesting thing about Holiday Hi-Jynx is that in the Japanese versions at least, an edited version of this episode does exist, which changes Jynx's black skin to purple. I don't know if any dub track has ever used this footage, but it is an episode that could lift itself from the ban list if they decide to just take the 4Kids dub track and put it over this new edited footage. Nothing major happens in this episode. The only noteworthy thing is that, well, it makes Santa Claus canon within the Pokemon universe, which is fine because considering all the other crazy things that exist in this world, why wouldn't Santa exist? But that being said, it's at the bottom of the list simply because of the notoriety of Jynx, but also because, well, ultimately, it was kind of a filler episode, but a pretty good one. It did technically add some character development to Jessie, and hey, Santa Claus is real. At least in the Pokemon world. Number 4. Satoshi and Passimian. Satoshi and Passimian. Touchdown of Friendship, aka the Passimian episode. This is an interesting episode in particular because it's the most recent one to end up being banned. From Pokemon Sun and Moon, an episode where Ash befriends a Passimian known as Tiny, who is the runt among his team of Passimian who play, well, I guess the equivalent of Passimian rugby, I suppose? That's literally kind of what they're loosely based on. Sort of. Who are being pushed around by another team of Passimian, which are way bigger than them, and have pretty much taken over the clan of Passimian that resides somewhere in the forest. But with the help of Ash, Tiny and his own team of Passimian managed to defeat the bigger Passimian, showing that the little guy can never be put down, and through the power of teamwork, they can succeed even despite their size. So that right there sounds like a pretty wholesome episode with a pretty good message to boot. So why did it get banned? Well, because in order to infiltrate the Passimian's territory, Ash dressed up like a Passimian, aka a monkey, and donned black face paint, or rather very dark charcoal gray. So despite not actually being full black face paint, as well as face paint that didn't completely cover the eyes and didn't have big lips to boot, the fact that he dressed up as a monkey probably didn't help things either, since, well, monkey is also a potential slur towards African Americans. And the thing is, this episode, as you can tell by the Japanese title I recited, never got dubbed, period. So chances are Pokemon Company International anticipated that there would be potential controversy with this, and rather than hedge their bets or have a controversy on their hands, they decided to just skip the episode entirely. Which, to be fair, should be fine, since a lot of Sun and Moon is filler, though due to the slice of life nature of Sun and Moon, there is potential for Tiny to come back, more so, potentially, as a Pokemon that might join Ash's side. I'm not going to sit here and claim that Ash will catch this Passimian for sure, but let's think about it rationally. Ignoring Rowlet, every Pokemon that Ash has acquired at some point throughout Sun and Moon has been a Pokemon he has met and befriended earlier throughout the series. And Tiny in particular is a Passimian that has its own nickname, distinguishing it among the other Passimians. Couple that with the scenes of Passimian running along in the second Pokemon Sun and Moon Japanese opening, and you can kind of see why people are theorizing that Ash at some point throughout the series is going to get a Passimian. So as long as Ash doesn't actually acquire this Passimian, skipping this episode should have no effect on the actual series when it comes to the dub. However, if he does acquire this Passimian, well, we better hope that doesn't include flashback that says, oh hey, yeah, you met this Passimian at some other point. Or the dub finds some way to sprinkle in information to say they've either met already, or make it seem like this is the first time they met, and that this is just a very friendly Passimian. And even though I think the Japanese version was anticipating the potential controversy and tried to avoid it, it simply wasn't enough, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Ash dressed up like a Passimian. He dressed up like a monkey, and he wore black face paint. Need I say more? Number 3. Shaking Island Battle. Dojoch, Barboach versus Namazoon, Wishcash from Advanced Generation. So not only did this episode never get dubbed, it never aired in Japan either, so I have no idea what this episode's about. But the plot synopsis provided by Bulbapedia reads as follows. Ash Ketchum finishes the Moss Deep Gym, and his next goal is the final gym at Sodiopolis City. Ash and his friends journey towards Johto Island on the way, and are caught in an earthquake caused by Wishcash. They then meet a Pokemon trainer named Chuta, and start a Wishcash extermination there. Wait, extermination? What? So, yeah, this was the episode meant to debut Barboach. And why did the episode end up getting banned? Well, the episode was scheduled to broadcast on November 4th, 2004. However, not long before it would air, a devastating earthquake struck Japan. And so believing that it would be insensitive to air an episode where the plot of the episode dealt with earthquakes, they pulled the episode entirely. And it's an episode that's never seen the light of day as a result. But the thing that makes this episode in particular special is that it's the reason why the moves Earthquake, Fissure, and Magnitude have never been used in the anime since. Which kinda sucks because, well, that's definitely going to limit the move pool of certain ground types, and as a result, some of Ash's Pokemon like Torterra really suffer for their potential move pools. Which is just one more element that really added to Torterra really getting screwed towards the end of Diamond and Pearl. But yeah, this was yet another filler episode, but it is noteworthy not just because of the timing that it happened, but what came thereafter it. The complete banning of 3 moves that really do stifle the potential that could come from various ground types. It's unfortunate, but it is kind of understandable given the proclivity of Japan and earthquakes. Number 2. The Legend of Mini Ryu, aka Dratini, otherwise known as the Safari Zone episode. So for all of the reasons for an episode to get banned throughout this list, and even just banned in general among the variety of banned episodes over the years, this one is probably the simplest. It literally got banned in the English dub, and was never dubbed period, because of the prevalent use of guns throughout the whole episode. Yep, that's pretty much it. I mean, to be fair, the guy who runs the Safari Zone does aim a gun point blank at Ash's face, and actually shoots his gun at Team Rocket, so I can kinda see why they skipped it. But at the same time, this was dubbed by 4Kids, and we've seen what they've done with guns in Yu-Gi-Oh! How come you couldn't apply that technology here? Did you not have that kind of technology yet? Were you not allowed to by the Pokemon Company? I mean, the Japanese side of the anime was perfectly fine with you turning a rice ball into a sandwich, so why not just erase the gun? Just have him point very menacingly at Ash. I'm sure you can edit around that. So what's the big deal? An episode was skipped, so what? Well, most of you probably know where this is going. This is the episode where Ash acquired 30 Tauros. Because a running gag throughout the entire episode was Ash trying to catch a Rhyhorn, but instead, either a Tauros got in the way, or the Rhyhorn simply stepped out of the way and there was a Tauros right behind it, or Ash's aim sucked, and basically every single Safari Ball that Ash threw landed on a Tauros. Okay, so he acquired 30 Tauros, so what? It's not like Tauros would become a recurring staple throughout many of Ash's Pokemon League adventures, and in fact would be used in the one time he actually won a league, even if it's a league that many people don't count because it's not based on the games, aka the Orange Island. Oh no, it's not like Tauros is a Pokemon that is actually kind of a recurring joke throughout the anime. It's not like they constantly bring up Tauros, and those of us who watched it outside of Japan, at least in English, were very confused when Ash just had a bunch of Tauros, and they never, ever explained it. But that's the story of the single biggest plot hole caused by the Pokemon anime, at least for English-speaking audiences. It was all over guns, because for some reason, they can edit out all the guns in Yu-Gi-Oh!, but they can't edit out the guns here. There might be a deeper reason for it, and if there is one, I'd honestly love to know. Otherwise, I can't help but notice a bit of irony here. It's an American English dub that banned an episode over guns. There's a potentially controversial political statement I can make here, but I think I'm just gonna let the irony of the situation speak for itself. Oh boy! And the number one banned episode of the Pokemon anime ever is Computer Warrior Porygon, but more commonly known as Electric Soldier Porygon. Oh boy, where do we begin with this one? Well, for all the discussion that can be had with other episodes on this list, and even other banned episodes in general, this is a big one. Legitimately speaking, this episode changed the anime industry forever. The plot of this episode is honestly the most irrelevant part of the whole discussion that can be had, because to make a long story short, Ash and friends get sucked into cyberspace and basically have to stop Team Rocket with the help of a Porygon. However, when Pikachu fires an electric attack at a cluster of missiles, the explosion that follows that takes up a large majority of the screen rapidly flashes between red and blue. This moment is what causes over 700 Japanese people, ranging from ages 3 to 58, to suffer adverse health effects including epileptic seizures, vomiting, irritated eyes, and other related symptoms. This episode never aired again. It has never been re-released. It only popped up once by accident on Hulu Japan, but was quickly taken down. As a result, the Pokemon anime went on hiatus for 4 months. And in between that hiatus, a special hour-long report was broadcast, titled Anime, Pocket Monsters Problem Inspection Report, where in this hour-long special, a university professor goes into detail explaining the Porygon episode incident, which resulted in 685 viewers in Japan being sent to hospitals due to photosensitive epileptic seizures. However, according to the Bulbapedia article on this special, only 150 people were actually admitted into hospitals due to other children recovering while in the ambulance. The special otherwise went into great detail about what caused the seizures and what was happening to make sure it doesn't happen again, with even the announcement of the then newly developed Anime Checker, a machine that would actually check and analyze video flicker, so that incidents like this wouldn't repeat. And as a result of all of this and the hiatus, the very next episode of the Pokemon anime to debut after all of this was Pikachu's Goodbye, an episode that was never originally on the schedule to air in the first place, meaning that its conception was potentially a direct response to the entire incident overall. But even then, the first time this episode ever aired in Japan, it was coupled with a small mini special where they explained to the audience, namely children watching, what happened, what caused it, and basically what the hour-long special did, condensed down so that children could understand, while also showing letters and drawings that they were mailing in, asking for the show to come back, and thanking the children for their support and well wishes while everything was being sorted out. This was a major serious incident, and really, it can't be understated just how big a deal this was at the time. Have you ever watched anime, whether it's official subs or fan subs, and you see some text at the start of the episode that says make sure you're watching this anime in a well-lit room? Or even a bump at the start of an episode where a character from the show will remind the audience directly to make sure they're in a well-lit room and not to sit too close to the TV. All of that is directly the result of Electric Soldier Porygon. After that incident, major changes were done in the practices with how anime was produced, with a lot of care being taken to make sure flashes didn't happen, or if the flashes did happen, they were in such a way that could not cause epileptic seizures. Animation studios were specifically careful of colors, uses of swirls, and even the Pokemon opening itself was changed and tweaked to have less bright flashy colors flickering around. And while no articles on Bulbapedia can confirm this, it is likely possible that this could explain why in certain animes, like in particular My Hero Academia, there are scenes when the screen might just suddenly get darker, in particular in some of the openings, which can be greatly irritating, but the Porygon episode incident might very well be the reason why, because it's a protective measure to try and avoid potential epileptic seizures. But the episode wasn't the only thing that got banned. Porygon itself also suffered for this incident. Due to the infamy and notoriety of this episode, Porygon itself has never been shown in the anime, and this also goes for its evolutions. Porygon has never shown up in the anime since, and its evolutions, Porygon 2 and Porygon-Z, have never had debut episodes. They have cameoed in blink and you'll miss it moments in some of the Pokemon movies, but that's the closest we've ever come to any of the Porygons ever showing up in any form of animation since. Which is unfortunate because, well, the incident wasn't Porygon's fault. It was Pikachu's fault. Pikachu was the one that shot the electric attack at the missiles, which caused the seizure-inducing flickers. But because of the infamy of the episode, Porygon is the one that paid the price for Pikachu's crime. And honestly, that really is the only joke I could make out of all of this, is that Porygon took the rap for Pikachu. Because really there isn't much other room for jokes here. This was a serious incident. A lot of people ended up in the hospital because of this. And as a result, major changes did happen. This is a serious thing that happened, and without a doubt, it is the most notorious banned episode we will ever have. This episode is in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most photosensitive epileptic seizures caused by a television show. What a wonderful achievement for Pokemon to have under its belt. Oh boy. I did my best here to try and explain the situation in as much of a condensed fashion as possible, while still being as informative as possible, but it really can't be understated. This, despite being a filler episode, is the most infamous banned episode we will ever see. I don't know what could ever be done to top it, but considering how many people ended up hospitalized as a result, I don't think I would ever want to see a more notorious episode. I think anything that could be worse than this would be a real major problem. But fingers crossed at least. The best thing that can be gained from this is that lessons were learned and measures were taken to try and make sure that things like this never happen again. Whew! And that was my list for the top 5 banned Pokemon episodes, and I thank you all for watching. I don't think there's any other episodes that really deserve to be on this list more than what made it, but I know there's a couple I did leave out, which are probably going to be brought up in the comments, and if you want me to talk about them, let me know in those comments down below, because as always, I love to know what you guys think. But if you want to support the channel in any way, please consider checking out my Patreon, since even $1 goes a long way to helping make all the things I put out on this channel possible, with things such as top 10s, trading thoughts, Wi-Fi battles, Pixar in review, the second Junoon War, Let's Plays, and everything else we got going on here. It's never a dull moment, but I have a busy schedule to get back to, so in the meantime guys, I'm Silver August, and I'll catch you all next time.